Six ways inflation is making people change their lifestyles. Welcome to 14bucks.com where we help you master your money. So, for the past year, rising inflation has caused high levels of anxiety among consumers. Now, many people are changing their lifestyles in hopes of keeping the damage to their finances at a minimum. A recent survey of 2,000 adults by the Nationwide Retirement Institute revealed that many Americans are changing how they live day to day simply as a way to keep on top of inflation. So let's actually check this out. Number six, reducing contributions to their 401k. So respondents making this change is about 10%. This is a painful one, just as racking up credit card debt can hamstring your ability to build a solid financial foundation. Skipping 401k contributions puts your dreams of a robust retirement at risk. I mean, that's pretty brutal, right? Because what people don't understand is that the main reason why you want to invest in like a 401k is because typically if a company offers a 401k, they also typically offer a match to that 401k. So they are basically giving you free money. So you're pretty much usually losing on free money. Number five, moving in with family to save money. Respondents making this change about 14%. So sharing costs with family members can trim your expenses substantially. Not surprisingly, the survey finds that the younger generations are pursuing this route in higher numbers, with Generation Z 30% and Millennials 21% most likely to choose this path. And here's the thing, many people might be self conscious about this, but if this is something that you need to do for a short period of time and you have a good relationship with your family, then it is a viable option. There's nothing wrong with moving in with family to save money if it's for a short term, right? That being said, depending on your culture, where you were born, how you were raised, it might actually be more so along the lines of your culture is actually preferring you to live with your family and your extended family under the same roof. So you got to keep that in mind as well. If that's your family's culture, if that's basically your heritage of pretty much doing that, then again, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Number four, looking for a better paying job. Respondents making this change about 19%. The best way to soar above rising prices is to increase their income. Fortunately, now is a great time to look for a higher paying job. Never before have there been so many open positions and so few workers to clean them. And that's actually a pretty good point because here's the thing, there's a lot of places right now that you could walk in, barely even do a resume, and get paid like $12 to $15 plus per hour. Amazon is hiring, I think, $15 per hour. In some places, even $20 per hour. Some McDonald's are paying over $20 per hour. So just keep that in mind. Just be willing to work. Number three, relying more on credit cards. This disturbs me a lot. Respondents making this change 21%. This is the sad but inevitable price we pay for inflation. Carrying debt is a surefire way to destroy dreams of building wealth, yet when price rises, millions of us have little choice other than to turn to the plastic in our wallets. And this is the thing. I understand why people end up going down this route, but it's a short-term answer for a long-term damage output, right? Like the best way to avoid using credit cards is to be very mindful on how you spend your money and where you spend your money. Like you might have to be getting everything non-brand name. You might be having to only fill your gas quarterly, like each time it gets to like a quarter tank kind of stuff, right? Just to save a little bit. You might actually have to start paying gas in cash to save some money, right? You have to maybe cut some drastic things to avoid debt with credit cards because there's a lot of people, the majority of people, over 50%, I believe, carries a credit card balance month to month, meaning they are basically spending or like basically having like debt at like almost a 20+% interest rate, which is insane. Okay, you gotta be very careful when it comes to credit cards. Number two, driving less. Respondents making this change 35%. Now, I could definitely see this happening a lot. So, if all the climbing costs, perhaps none is so low as the rising cost of gasoline. Gas prices are now at an all time high, causing more than one third of survey respondents to admit they are keeping the jalopy parked in the garage more often. And this makes perfect sense. And here's the thing, if you have like coworkers or if you have like family members, your partner, all that kind of stuff, right? Where you basically go roughly in the same direction, it might be a great idea to carpool and just contribute a little bit to gas because that could save you a lot of money, right? That could definitely save a household a lot of money if you're able to use one car for the trip. Because, dear Lord, like the amount of money that some people are actually spending on gas is insane. There's people spending over $100 a tank, right? There's like just for like their like truck, just for their like sedan. Like it's crazy. They're spending so much money on gas. Number one, eating out less. Respondents making this change 48%. You have to pity poor restaurateurs. For 2 years, they had to battle to keep their businesses afloat as COVID-19 fears left customers locked up at home. Just as the coronavirus pandemic is subsiding, Americans have found a new reason to dine at home: rising prices. Here's the thing that people don't even understand, too, right? Because of the inflation data that just has been released, where they say it's like 8.5%, a lot of these food items are actually over 10%, and some of them are actually over 20% higher, right? And this is just like a quick example for like dog food. Personally, dog food. I am spending over 30% more per week on dog food, on the exact same amount of dog food than I did a few months ago. That's something to keep in mind. Like every single grocery item has risen in price by a percentage, like by a few percent, right? So just keep that in mind. Inflation is a very real thing. The inflation numbers that were released are not actually accurate. And this is something that you probably have to do. You probably have to start eating out less. And I'm not just talking about eating out less in terms of like a restaurant. I'm talking about you might have to stop going to Starbucks. You might have to stop going to get fast food for your lunch or your breakfast on the way to work or on your lunch break. You might have to start eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You might have to start eating ramen for a little bit. There might be some food shortages later on this year. So you got to be very, very careful because financially speaking, food, food costs on top of gas costs this year might get absolutely insane, almost unbearable for the majority of the population. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like riots due to the loss of food in the grocery store or how expensive it will end up getting. Like, for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, the grocery bill is going to hit them the hardest. It's going to be brutal. So be very wary as to what you're spending your money on. Check your grocery bill every single week and try to cut that cost as much as you can and try to get food as well that could last for a couple weeks if it needs to, because there is probably going to be a food shortage at some point this year, and you do not want to have your house with no food. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go to 40unbox.com. fortyandbucks.com. Stay tuned for more. Hit the like button, subscribe for more financially related content. And we'll see you in future episodes.